first thing first, I did want to go ahead and, uh, even though we're talking amongst each other, I did want to acknowledge the people who like were watching. As I told you guys, it's super cool that like looking through these videos and I like refresh a couple times a day because I'm like, oh fuck, I hope more people are watching. But we've gotten like quite a few really cool comments of sessions that you guys weren't here for. It's the Dark Souls 3 campaign before we started has been on the channel for like 7 months now. So the first campaign's got like 718 views and 24 likes and um, a lot of comments about here. Let me go ahead and double check. A lot of comments about like just wanting to stick along and look at more Dark Souls tabletop shit, whatever. So awesome that they're in for that. Hopefully, when we get more sessions uploaded, like the third one's coming out today, more people can like show support. We don't have any dislikes yet, which is dope. That'll come in time, because the
I'll
more,
give us the first dislike.
yeah, go ahead and you do
Yeah, there
that.
you go.
But yeah, that'll definitely come in time. The more people you got fucking watching, someone's gonna do that. But yeah, man, so far everyone, people are watching are all enjoying that shit. But this is Brandon, and you guys can go ahead and say who else is going to be joining today.
Oh, so I'm Cody, and
This is
yeah, I'm Cody, and we've got Alex along here with us as well.
Sup?
And you guys can go ahead and say like what characters you guys playing in the campaign that we're doing right now. Who are you?
Who
Ah,
are you?
You don't
so
even go here.
yeah, right. So I play as Garud. Basically, I am a fighter, a Roslin. Basically, kind of like a cat, kind of like a cat person, lion type
Yeah, that's
person deal.
something that I didn't really think about to mention. It's one of the added, Dark Souls races, and you guys were able to come up with your own interpretation for how you imagined it. Because I knew you guys both worked a lot on, you know, holding hands and being buddies throughout this whole thing.
Cody,
Yeah.
Cody's my little boy, and he's my bro, and he's my baby.
In and out of D&D.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah, but yeah, no, it was kind of cool because when I first went to set that character up, I know you know this for sure, Brandon,
Yeah.
but when I went to go make this character, I nobody else had been in the group just yet, so I was like, "Yo,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
look at these races," and I was just like, "Yo, I want to be in a Roslyn. I want to be from this homeland. I'm gonna be from from a village called Umbertown."
Yeah.
And I had my backstory as being a hard worker in the fields and stuff because with the land that I come from, it was known for being a place where there was a lot of crops and stuff grown, and then it was also known for throwing festivals.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, so I want my character to be one of those guys who was a hard worker and worked out in the fields with his parents, and then we'd have the festivals on good harvest years and everything like that. And then out of nowhere, right after I submitted that character sheet, Brandon tells me, "Oh yeah, this other guy named Alex in our group is going to be in Roslyn as well, and he's going to be a bard." I was like, "This is going to match up perfectly because
For
he can
real.
be the entertainer for all these festivals." I was
Yeah,
like,
man.
"All right, cool," and it just kind of went from there. We basically met up before the first session because as soon as I knew he was going to be in Roslyn, I was like, look, the two of us could be a really good duo, and it would be a really cool backstory that would involve multiple characters, which would kind of help out in the overall picture of how the crew came to know each other.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, Alex, dude, I remember you coming back to me after like you guys talking, be like, "Yo, Cody's my boy."
Yeah, literally. I had no idea that there was gonna be another Roslyn either. Like, I hadn't even looked. I was like looking through the races, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Oh, this is a little bit similar to a Leon, and I was like,
Right.
oh, I never played one of those, and always wanted to be like this. And I was like, oh wait, there's like different places I can choose to be from, and I was like, all right, started building my character, and like you said, came across Cody,
Uh-huh.
and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what?
See, what's
I was just
interesting
happy.
is at first I was like, oh shit, like I didn't have a problem with it at all, but I was wondering if, since you guys were like both wanting similar backgrounds, if I wanted to let one person know just in case someone was like, oh shit, I don't want someone to have the same background and race as me. I'm gonna choose something else. But it turned out
You
you
were
guys were
worried
like,
and were
yeah,
there frolicking in a field?
yeah. It
Yeah.
turned out you guys like formed a super Megatron out of this.
Yep,
Oh yeah, it's
super
great.
brohood.
And like I said, as soon as I found out he was a bard, I was just like, this is perfect because in my backstory I'd even put like that, after Good Harvest and stuff, we'd have festivals, and I was like, man, he could have been the performer at those festivals, which is how we met. I was
Yeah.
Dude,
like,
you get a free promoter.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. And what's better yet is like the cool thing about it is with me being a fighter and him being a bard, I was like, dude, we can sit here. He basically me and him support each other in the fact that like if it's more lighthearted and we're out playing somewhere and say he gets for whatever reason his performance role just isn't great, I can
Yeah.
just go around telling people it was great, right? And intimidate them, force them to start paying money and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's
You
awesome.
can just see like, Lionel strumming along and singing out of tune because his voice is cracking and he like breaks a string and everybody is just sitting there quietly in the bar looking around like, is this supposed to happen? And all of a sudden like the quiet just breaks, with Garud come, yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I'm going, yeah, this is great, right? As I'm mean mugging people and jabbing them with my elbow,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
some guy starts to stand up like, this is trash. Like an axe just goes past his head like,
Yeah.
no, no, shut up.
Yeah, for real. But
As
I
I show up with my two hand axes. Really?
Right, but that actually brings me to like the second thing that I was interested in talking about. Cody, I think now that I remember, Cody, you were the first one to join this campaign that I when I sent it out to everybody, and obviously I met Alex and the rest of the group through Roll20 and looking at the the ad or whatever. So Cody, you were in Tomb of the Four Kings for a super super brief period.
I was,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So Cody played with me before before you did, Alex. So but we only you only were in what, like two or three sessions, I think.
I
Maybe
think I
two.
only was able to make, I think, two of them, and then life kind of happened.
Yeah.
I remember one of the sessions, my parents' car broke down, so I
Yeah.
had to go help them fix that up, and I was like, hey, sorry, man, I'm gonna be here the next week.
Mm.
I'm ready. And then as the next week came around, my work schedule got changed, and now I worked 7 days on, 7 days off, and I was like, I'm literally working every time the session's going now. And
Yeah.
I mean, even with the 7 days off, I think that session we were also doing every other week, but I think it was the opposite weeks of the ones I
Yeah.
worked. So I
Yeah.
was just like, oh crud, I'm not going to be able to do this, and I felt horrible, and I knew I had to pull out, but
Yeah.
I still wanted to keep in touch and see how the group was doing because we had some
You
pretty
were
chill
there for
people in that group.
the jail, like the jail segment, pretty much is
Yes,
what you're
I was
talking
there
about.
for the jail for the entire time, and what
Which
was
Cody would have
funny,
had a ton of fun. Excuse me, which Alex would have had a ton of fun with because you guys have both been in like uh Alex on one hand was in for like a single session of Mind of the Chaos Mage, which on YouTube I like utilize the discussion thing to try and make sure I update people as much as possible. I remember being like, okay, you guys, this like super cool like side campaign's gonna come out like alongside the main one, so you guys can have like a bunch of different content to look at. And it's Mind of the Chaos Mage. It's gonna be in the mind of this fucking crazy weirdo like old man, whatever. And then like the session video got lost and we only got to play one session of it. But I remember I shared a bunch of that with you, Cody, and then me and Alex we went over like stuff that we were wanting to happen with it later on. Um, but while Cody and I were hanging out playing Tomb of the Four Kings, um, Alex, like, what were you in any campaigns like recently? Like, how often were you playing D&D before you
Uh,
joined us?
so I'd say right before I joined you, I hadn't played D&D for it would have been a good few weeks, a good while anyway. But my last campaign that I played in as a player was Curse of Strahd.
Okay.
And that it didn't go fantastically just because we had our whole friend group. We had people going up and down the country
Oh shit.
because we live in the UK, so people working down in Portsmouth all the way up to like the very top end of Scotland and in Wales and London and all sorts of stuff. So the group was constantly getting split up, and we tried doing it over Discord, but the problem was we had a whole campaign with 4 players running, and then to introduce me and my friend, the DM introduced us on the other side of the map with the idea of kind of like bringing us together. Um, but the issue, like I said, was that just we were constantly working in different sides of the country, and it was going okay. But I think they came across Strahd and started a fight with him and got their asses kicked. Meanwhile, me and my buddy had only just gotten away from like the first small town area, and we just met the wolves and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
While I was doing that, I was writing my own campaign, the Eris Gethrum one,
Hmm. Oh yeah,
and
your campaigns that you write are pretty fused with like real world history, like as far as
yeah,
what
it's
you inspired by, pretty much.
based on like the idea like the Spanish Inquisition, the Hundred Years' War, the Peninsular Wars, that kind of stuff. It's really easy and very easy for a DM to just rip something from
Oh yeah.
1600s history and no one is the wiser because there were so many battles and great adventures that went on between the Middle Ages and the Georgian times, and you can plagiarize them to hell and no one knows.
Oh,
You
history
can come
helps
up
out
with
so much with like knowing how to run just like a town in general.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
it's such a big help. But yeah,
it's
go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, it's just crazy. You can literally look at history and just pluck like a week from something that happened where, for example, Scotland and England were at war for a very long time,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you can take any one of those small segments of time and just be like, just blow it up a bit size wise and be like, that's my entire D&D situation. Like
yeah.
that is a situation between these two enormous continents, and no one would be any the wiser because there's so many of those situations.
Hmm.
And it's just madness. The way that you can get away with just going like, oh, this bit of history, I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, it's perfect. So let's talk about like before the campaign that we're in now then. So Alex, you do a lot. Do you do a lot of creating your own campaigns, or do you play more than you?
I create more than I
Okay.
play.
Well, I got this special privilege of having you as a player then. That's awesome.
Well, I was over the moon when I first managed to get into this campaign, and you were like, yeah, we will like try and do it Saturdays, and
Hmm.
we'll try and have our first sort of intro game. I was so happy. I was like, oh, I finally get to be a player again because I'd been DMing for so long before I'd made so many characters. One of my old DMs invited me to his campaign on D&D Beyond, and we were sharing this thing, and I ended up making like 15 or 20 characters out of boredom, and he was like, yeah, could you just delete some of those because they're taking up so much space? And I was like,
Jesus.
understandable, because I'd
Holy
made
hell.
so many that were like multi-class to hell and all sorts of stuff, and just trying new things out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
that's
I've
awesome.
heard. Yeah, that DMs will like DMs who want to play a lot, which I for some reason am not one. I'm not like if I get to play cool, but I just so obsessed with DMing. But like a lot of DMs that wish that they could play will like make all these characters and be like, you know what? I just might as well make these like super OP NPCs.
Well, yeah, like one of the characters that I made for one of my campaigns is a captain of the guard, who he's basically an ex-adventurer. He's what I thought, like, you know what, if someone did get to legendary levels, that's who their character would probably end up being.
Okay.
Um, and he was this dude with a German accent and his Zweihander, and this like big Milanese plate armor and kind of walked around like he was in the 15th century. And
Love his
when
wife.
I made him, and I don't know, it was funny because my players came across him and they hated the two characters that I really wanted them to like, and I'd kind of forgotten about him. And they're like, "Oh, where's the captain of the guard? We want to talk to him again." And I was like, "Shit." Like the guy that I didn't really put that much thought into. Oh, yeah,
Is
here,
all of a sudden the main character everybody wants
yeah,
to hang with. Like,
Yeah,
I
dude,
want to
it's
know this
weird.
guy.
It's
I
weird
was,
how people like players will pick out the weirdest fucking details, and you can't just be like, "I didn't put time into that. Don't worry about it." Like, because that destroys the illusion from you. You gotta be like, "Okay, I guess
yeah,
I'll make a
the immersion's
Yeah.
backstory."
dead.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I had so my previous DM before I started playing here with Brandon, he was kind of the same way. He loved creating a lot of characters, but he was always DMing.
Yeah.
I have always been on the opposite side of the scale. I love playing. I've never tried to DM before, although I am
Oh wow.
currently, yeah, I am currently working on a superhero one shot that I want to
Sick.
DM for
I
y'all.
can't
Oh
wait for
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and some of the characters are going to be a little fun to play around with and see what you guys think, see who picks what. But going back to the previous sessions I had been in prior to joining you guys, um, my my DM eventually had to integrate an NPC because we were sitting here and we interacted with that NPC so much, and it was an NPC that he was like, "Yeah, y'all realize this was like a completely optional, like tertiary mission, right?" And we're like, "Yeah, but the
Yeah.
character's cool." And he's like, "Well, all right, she's gonna give you all your missions and stuff from now on." Her name was Mama-san, and she was this. He he based her off of a. It was kind of like a. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was basically a comedy kung fu movie, like something that makes fun of the cheesy kung fu
Ooh, I
movies of
know.
the
My
old.
psych professor was fucking obsessed with that movie. I forgot what it's called though. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
look that up.
yeah, I feel terrible because I've watched the movie before and it is hilarious. But he based that character off of her. And it's just this lady that comes out like a bathrobe, cigarette in, freaking hair curls in, and he made her into a full
Oh, are you still there?
for random stuff. Like it was. Oh yeah, I'm still
A
here.
full
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you hear
what?
me? Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but you. Oh, was it Kung Fu Hustle?
That's what it
There you
was. Yes.
go. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was Kung Fu Hustle, and basically this character started giving us all these quests. Well, one of my buddies who was in our campaign decided to be a rogue and decided to try and fight her. So yeah, basically our DM was like, "All right, that's it. She's a monk. He's not gonna have any chance against her." And somehow my rogue buddy, as a level 3, managed to just keep rolling high enough on his stealth checks after he would attack and then pull back that he wound up beating a level 10 enemy
Oh
as a level
wow.
3. And yeah, anyway, it was a great campaign. Our problem kind of similar to what Alex was saying, though. We had a lot of people that wound up having to move for work,
Yeah.
so we were a good close knit group. We had 5 guys, but
How long have you guys
one
been
of
playing together for?
we played for about 3 years,
Oh
and
shit.
yeah, it was a good group. And the thing was, we went in between campaigns, like we try and change it up just to keep it from getting too monotonous.
Yeah.
But we actually originally started playing on Savage Worlds. Like we weren't playing D&D. We played Savage Worlds when I
Nice.
first started
Is
with
that the Western themed one?
no, Savage Worlds is oh, what's a good way to describe it?
Let me look that up.
It's like it's similar to basically Pathfinder and D&D, but a lot less modifications can be made.
Okay.
But
So it's more like
overall, with
streamlined.
the yeah, it's more streamlined and it's at least in my opinion, some probably not a popular opinion, but my opinion kind of easier to get started with that and then move into Pathfinder and D&D because when you start with Savage Worlds, there's a little more gray area as far as the rules goes.
That
You
makes
can't
sense to
mod your
me.
characters out as much, but there's more gray area.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of leeway that can be given. Whereas once you start getting in Pathfinder and D&D, there are rules that are absolute, like, hey, you can't do that in this
Right.
situation. But the things that you can't do, obviously, they make sense as to why you wouldn't be able to do them. But with Savage Worlds, you don't necessarily have to worry about that. You just get in there, you start it off, you have fun. So my opinion, as far as like the starter, for a starter, that's what got me into it because I had never done a tabletop prior to joining that group,
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, and the DM actually was one of my mentors at work, and he just pulled me to the side one day. He's like, "Hey, man, we play tabletops on weekends. You want to play?" I was like, "What do you mean by you play tabletops?" He's like, "Yo, you ever heard of D&D?" I was like, "I have." He's like, "Well, you want to drink some beer with us and try it?" I was like, "Sure."
That's a good
And
way
it took
to
off
hook
from
someone
there.
in.
Oh yeah.
I'm
So
surprised how many people get like. It seems like because I watch D&D stories all the time. Like half of what I watch on YouTube is D&D stories or module like reviews or whatever. And I'm surprised how many people like get drawn into D&D through like employees or even like the horror Reddit stories bosses that say, "We'll fire you if you kill my character."
oh yeah, it's great. Well, the other thing too that I think a lot of that pulls in a lot of people is the thing is a lot of people don't really especially people like me
Hmm.
beforehand I never really embraced any type of creativity as far as my lifestyle went. I was just kind of like very like organized. I didn't really do much as far as like making backstories or anything like that. I was just very um tied into work. And
Yeah.
then when he offered me that opportunities, and I was like, all right, well, what do I do to make my character? And he kind of showed me how to do that. And he's like, make up a backstory. It can be as crazy or wacky as you want. Just have fun with it. Make a backstory, and I'll find a way to get you into the session. And once I made my backstory and I got to have that little bit of creativity, it just blew up from there, and I was super happy doing it.
Yeah, man.
So I think that's something that draws a lot of people into is the aspect that you can do what you
Yeah.
want with your character. You can come up with whatever kind of backstory you want, whether it's funny, tragic, or kind of more streamlined. Just like, oh yeah, I'm doing this for honor or whatever for your character. Like you have that ability to do whatever you want and create what you want.
I'm
Um,
not a super big fan of Matt Colville, as I've said before, but there's a bunch of stuff. There's a couple of things with him that I agree with, and one of them is D&D is the most fun that you can have with your brain. I think it's like every single creative outlet that exists, you can put into D&D. Like for example, Alex. Not sure if you talked to Cody about this or not, or if you want to keep a secret between you and me, but the texts, bro. The religious texts.
so
Is Alex still there?
I don't know if his mic is working. Can you hear us, Alex?
I'm like,
Uh,
I knew he wouldn't be this quiet.
yeah, no, I think he did mention earlier to me prior to us doing this podcast he's having some internet issues.
Oh, is he?
I'm sure he'll be kind of in and out, but he'll definitely come
Alright.
back into the convo. I'm sure he can at least hear us.
Cool, cool.
But actually
Did you hear about the religious text thing? Was that you guys
he
working
did.
together? Okay, cool.
So it wasn't us working together. What happened was, I guess while I was at work this past week that I was on,
Mhm.
he decided to come up with it. You two had kind of collaborated, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, so this is what I have in mind." And he was talking about how basically our religious book had been stolen, but there were certain scripts and stuff that our people had kept. And he wanted to kind of put that more into the lore and backstory of how the Roslins came to be and how they, what they believed in their kind of belief system and stuff within the world.
It was really,
And
really cool.
it's super intricate and I love it. And he was like, yeah, basically, it's one of the relics we also want to try and get back because he had told me, it's kind of almost like a backstory for our people in the
Yeah.
game.
Oh, the annals. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
talking about the you writing an entire Bible for D&D.
I gotta do something, man. I'm leaving my job. I gotta find something to do.
Yeah.
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 I want to write that, but I also want to liaise with some other stuff about like culture building and some other world building stuff and like further stuff for Cody's backstory and develop out some stuff maybe that even Cody doesn't know about, and
Yeah.
maybe
Oh,
you guys
I'm
develop some stuff about my guy that I don't know about.
and I am super excited for it because I remember the first time. I think it was our very first session. It was before we actually picked up the other two characters we currently
Was it
have
with the
in
girls?
Orn and Nerf. Yeah, it was with the
Yeah.
girls. And
Man,
I remember
I
when
miss
we
them.
met them, I was like, "Oh, you should play our favorite tune," and he actually
Oh
had
yeah.
music ready for it, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, awesome!"
You were like, oh fuck, like you could tell how embarrassed Alex was.
But
Um,
he
but it's
killed
like,
it.
bro, you can't have that shit ready and tell us you won't play it. You have to at
Yeah,
that point.
like
but
since
it was
that
great.
day, I've written so much crap just because in future when someone's like, "Oh, bet you haven't got a song about this," I'd be like, "Well, motherfucker."
You don't know.
Well, listen
Don't
here,
challenge him.
kiddos, as he pulls out a set of drums or something.
Yeah, don't
I've,
challenge
I've,
his loot that strangely sounds like a harmonica for some reason.
yeah, that thing's never coming out again. Uh, I was saying to Cody, I've finished the song about Umbertown for him, but I mean, there's because obviously we're constantly like coming up with new stuff and adding it to the backstories. I'm gonna sing this song one day, and we're gonna be like, none of that's accurate.
Yeah, right. You guys, oh
None of
man.
that's true.
No,
So
man, it's gonna become the myth and the legend of the Eroslins. That's what that's what's gonna happen.
so a
I'm
little
looking
bit
forward to doing more with it.
of a backstory for like a little bit of context for the people who are watching. Um, to give a little bit of a tip of I guess the way that I did this, so that you guys had opportunity to like craft your own backstory pretty much was so there's obviously for I think a lot of people who are watching are gonna be Dark Souls fans coming in since the only two campaigns that are being uploaded right now are Dark Souls campaigns until Darnin comes out. Um, but like obviously there's a ton of different homelands that have pretty minor descriptions for them in Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3 as far as where all these NPCs you come across come from. So what I did was I pretty much gave all the players a list of like 12 solid homelands that were different enough from each other that different characters could gravitate and there wouldn't be two that'd be super similar, and gave a very small little excerpt for the basic idea of what these homelands are to just sort of spark the imagination a little bit. So Katarina was land of festival and drinks, and then you've got Jugo, desert with enchanting pyromancers. Then you just take that and run with it. And Cody and Alex, as well as Joel and Nerf and the girls even, um, just fucking like really developed where they came from more than I, thought that like these places would have been developed. And you guys keep like, making them larger and more dense for like lore and backstory as you guys go. So that shit's been really fun to watch you guys get creative with.
Well, it's great because I mean, I'll write something small, like a little side note, like, oh, maybe Katarina has roofs like they do in Rome, and I'm like
Yeah.
thinking like, oh, maybe it's kind of like that, and then Cody will be like, yeah, back in Katarina, we've got this, and I'm like, that's canon. Write that down. Write that down.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I think what really helped it get as dense as it did too, and I mean, across the board, everybody did a really good job with their descriptions of how the lands and stuff were. But like I said, as soon as you had told me, "Oh yeah, Alex is gonna do a Roslyn too," I was like, "Oh shoot!" So we started talking to each other, and we just kept bouncing ideas off each other as to how stuff had worked in the homeland and like what it was all about and everything. And I think that really helped to expand it a little bit more too, as far as what we knew of Katarina compared to
Yeah.
where it had come from. So I think that all really helped. And then on top of that, you as the DM gave us kind of that freedom to be like,
Hmm.
hey, our homeland I think would be kind of similar to this, and this is why. and it just worked out really, really well. It was cool.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
man.
you
And
gave us so much freedom with that. You were literally like, Katarina is a little bit like this and a little bit like this, and they've already started.
yeah, just like general aesthetic, and then with that like visualization, go ahead and do whatever you fucking want with that. Um, but uh, shit, what else was I gonna say about that? I completely forgot. Uh, oh fuck. Well, anyway, something that I did want to like go back and ask about because now we know, Alex has played. You said you haven't DM'd at all, right? Like you've just played.
Oh,
Except
that was me. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, Cody. My bad, my bad, my bad. Um, so Cody hasn't DM'd yet, and hopefully, see, I feel bad though, because it's like the only opportunity you'll get to like, um, DM for the first time, that you're super excited for is like in session, and like I do want to make sure it's not like, oh, you won't be able to have opportunity for that because we're going to be playing for today kind of thing. Like there's got to be a time that we set aside where you will 100% be able to have an opportunity to DM for everybody.
Well, something I was thinking that would be cool is like, say we get, say we all somehow get have like a I know this year it won't happen because I work all the major holidays that are
Yeah,
coming up. But like if we all have a holiday or something that comes up where we're all off and say it's not the same day as the session, but we all want to play,
yeah.
I think it would just be something cool to have ready to go. So that way, like, hey, we want to get on. We don't have anything else going on, and at this point right now, the session's not until however many days away. We have something set up to where we can get some more have a little bit more of a very lighthearted session because like I said, it's superhero themed, which
Yeah, this definitely isn't a
so
lighthearted campaign, so
yeah,
Oh
it'd
god,
be
no.
nice to have a little bit of a,
exactly,
break
give
from
us a
that.
little break from that. And then
Yeah.
also on top of that, the way I saw it is I know you love DMing and you love that side 100%. You'd rather be doing that. But I figured if there it does come a time where it's just like,
Yeah, it's not like I
hey, you
wouldn't
know
want
what?
to be a player.
Right,
Not at
right. And the
all.
way I saw it was like if there's a point where it's where say there's just there comes a session day or something where you're just like, you know what, I had
I'm not
something
feeling it.
prepared,
Yeah.
but I'm not really feeling it right yet.
Yeah.
We can it's something that I'll have it ready and we can just pull it out and like, hey, surprise session, we're doing a one shot.
I think that
Um
definitely would happen because even after like, dude, how fucking I keep forgetting how long it's been. It was like my second year in college that I started DMing, and I DM'd before I played. Like, um, yeah, it was like I think it was like 5 years ago. But like even 5 years ago, like 5 years in of like nonstop DMing, I don't think there's ever been a period of like more than 3 months that I haven't DM'd since then. Like I'll still get super super anxious before like every session, just like, okay, is everything prepared? If like the players go off the beaten path, do am I like prepared for to improvise for that? Like, what does this dialogue make sense for these characters and like all that fucking shit. Um, but uh, yeah, that'd be super super fun. I would love to have on the channel like your one-off like DM session and where I can play and use my NPC voices as a character.
oh dude, it's going to be
Alfredo as
great.
a
And
character, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I
I've
am
been
excited to see what you do with whichever character you choose.
which is
Because, like I
actually
said, I have enough of them picked out to where y'all can just pick which ones you want to have, and then we'll go from there. But something I do want to like, I'm not going to give away a whole ton of like spoilers
oh
by
yeah,
any
not at all.
means. But something that's going to happen too is like your characters are going to have some really cool powers, but there's also going to be, like I said, the lighthearted side of it is some of them are going to have some pretty fun character flaws. Like, yeah, this man is like almost invincible. He's super strong, this, that, the other. This man's afraid of cats.
Love
Like,
character flaws
there's
so
gonna be some
much.
fun flaws and stuff like that with them
Yeah,
that'll
it's
help
like
come into play.
it reminds me of a player I had in my last tabletop game called what it was, Reign of the Goblin King, and it was like a steam it was I wouldn't really call it steampunk, but like this this uh this like really dumb fat goblin like lord made a like deal with some chaotic neutral like satyr type deity, like that dude from Oblivion and Skyrim, like the guy with the talking dog. I keep forgetting what his name is.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
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 yep.
like it was pretty much just that guy, and he got super smart, and all of a sudden,
Clavicus Vile.
Clavicus Vile, and all of a sudden they like began harvesting like these like pretty much like what would be coal or electricity of these like magic gems that powered like big mechanical fortresses and fucking walking like ballistas and shit like that. But
A weapon to surpass Metal Gear.
yeah, dude, it reminds me pretty much. It reminds me of a player that we had that joined, and he didn't get the fact that like D&D was supposed to have fun. Like you had to win the game, and I had to keep telling bro, it's not about winning. You gotta just like fucking up
Oh,
is as much fun
dude.
as not
Oh,
fucking up.
oh yeah, dude. And some of the stuff that causes the most peril in a story is usually part of the probably one of the most fun parts of the session. Like
Yeah,
Dude,
I
look at
know I
exactly.
me.
had.
Look at me going down in the fight against Raheem. Like
That
Oh
was
yeah.
that
so
was
fucking
intense.
beautiful. Yeah.
That was
Oh
fucking madness. Like I said it before in the thing. It was the whole thing was just theatrical and organic as hell.
Mm.
It
yep.
was
And then
just
I still
crazy.
go back and listen to that. By the way, like I'll timestamp it for you guys so that you don't. I mean, I don't think there'd be any spoilers anymore. Yeah, up till session 2, there's no more spoilers. If you guys want to go back and watch that, but like just, and I think I told. Did I tell Cody about this or did I tell Alex about this? How I'll go back and I've listened to like I left a little bit of the Discord chat you guys had with each other
Yeah,
that was yeah. You told us
during
about
break of like you guys talking about the fight because like how into it you guys were and I'll still go back and listen to that just because it's so fun to hear how hyped you guys like got over like oh fuck that fight and I got down and like I thought you were gonna die and like all this cool shit.
Oh
It's
yeah,
fun
man,
to listen to.
it was great. And then even in this last session, I don't want to give any spoilers out because I don't
Yeah,
know when it's gonna get posted.
right.
But there's a moment in there where stuff happens, and I can just remember going through my mind. I'm like, this is gonna make for some great content too, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed the crap out of it. It was awesome, and the way it went down and everything was really good. So for those of you viewers that are out there that are going to be hearing this podcast when that session drops,
Go
you're
fucking
going to
watch that
really
shit.
enjoy it.
Yeah, dude. And
Oh,
obviously, because you want to, I'll make sure not to say anything either. But like a good example of like um bad things being awesome, much like session 2 with Lionel almost dying, is there's a certain crit fail that happens outside of the party of players that I think like it was improvised. I'm like, okay, this is a crit fail. How does this happen? How can I turn this into something? And it ended up being something that like revealed a little bit more outside the party, if you guys know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know? Do you know? Something
It's going to be.
involving, Luca Teal's crit fail.
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
And I think, like I said, that's why I said there are certain things that happened in this last session that I am excited for the viewers to see because
yeah.
it was great.
It's interesting though, and I think I told Alex this, but like Alex sent me a message was like, dude, that was one of my favorite sessions ever, and I was super shocked because I thought you guys I wouldn't say I thought you I could definitely tell you guys enjoyed it, but it seems just sort of like a average energy level session, I guess, and I wasn't reading that you guys were having a super good time. I feel like it was because of the music specifically. Like the music was very like low and ominous because that's the Flexile Sentry's theme. But like I was just in conclusion, I was really surprised that you guys enjoyed it that much. Like I thought I might have, you know, made it a
Oh
little
no,
bit.
I remember because I think you talked to me about it after that session for a
Yeah.
minute, and I was just like, "No, dude, it went fine. Like it was a really good session." Um, but I like the fact that when we have our sessions too, like the content is really good. The fights are, it's Dark Souls esque. Like
Yeah.
if you fail a roll, it's going to suck. Like it's meant
Literally,
to be
rolling
that
is
way.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. That's
yeah.
actually my
So
favorite part of DMing. Like one of my favorite parts of DMing now. I love like the fucking sweat of
oh
rolling the
yeah, dude.
dice.
There have been moments on multiple occasions with not just my character but other characters where I'm like, oh my gosh, we really jacked up, and I'm just like,
Like I was on
like
4
I'm
HP for
losing it
2
for a
rounds of
second.
combat.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was just like, shit, shit, and then straight after that, I tried playing Watch Dogs of Farron by myself.
Oh yeah, I had to
And
give
Oh
you some
yeah.
tips on that. All
yeah, I
three of us
messaged
should
you
jump
and
back into Dark Souls 3. Like all we've both played individually.
Oh
We
yeah. I
only
played
got
with you that one
right,
night,
right.
and now that I really have a true feel. By the way, for those of you in the audience listening, I'll admit, up until a few weeks ago when me and Brandon played on a PlayStation, I hadn't played a Dark Souls game. Like I had
Dude.
watched people play it, I had
oh,
heard
you
about
scrub.
it and whatnot,
The
but I wanted to get that feel of like exactly what to be in for. And after playing it and then going back and looking at some of the stuff that's happened in our sessions, it's very apparent that it's very similar. And
oh,
it's just like,
Oh,
awesome.
oh no,
enormous.
it's like
That's
I
really
do
good
not
news to
want to
hear.
fail.
Yeah. But it's actually super super funny, Alex. Well, I mean, I don't both of you guys I think are like soft squishies when it comes to Dark Souls. So this probably wouldn't be like super surprise to Alex, but Cody, you were so fucking adamant on keeping like the character that was gonna fuck you the rest of the game. Like, dude, you don't want to don't get too far that you're totally screwed. Like, no, man, I can fucking do it. Don't you worry. And then you change characters to the night, and you're like, okay, I beat the boss on like one try. It's like, see,
I know and that's the funny thing with me, and I think it's something that people can see in my character as well as they watch the story progress.
yeah.
I love a challenge, and my thing is like I can be very stubborn with that
Mm,
sometimes, where I'm just like, no,
I
no,
can
no,
do it,
I
no
can
matter
I
do
what.
totally
it
noticed.
exactly. And that was one of those things where I kind of worked that into my character too a little bit. I think I actually have it as one of my flaws.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
can see
remember if
it.
I have it written down or not, but it's the overconfidence factor of, yeah, no, I can handle this. I got this. And then, yeah, it went south real quick. I think I was sitting there trying to fight. Who did I have? Did I have the rogue or something like that when I first played with
Yeah,
you on?
you had like a guy with
I
like
had the
a
thief.
rapier and
That's
a
what it
tiny
was.
hide
Yeah,
shield, and
yeah, I had the thief, and I'm
yeah.
sitting here, and I think, like I said, I'd never played the game before, and I think that boss had to beat my ass at least 20 times in
Hmm.
a row before I finally got him.
Do
And
I
then
the
I'm like,
Thunder?
oh, I'm past it, Brandon. I'm past it. We're
Yeah.
gonna be good. And he's like, no, no, you're not.
I remember like you being like, man, I don't know if I could do this. Like you were starting to. I wouldn't say no if I could do this because you remained determined, but you were definitely getting super super frustrated. And so I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
come on, dude, just
yeah,
like fucking easy mode that shit.
yeah.
Don't
Well,
make
it's
it
like
so hard on yourself.
I know that I can do the Watch Dogs of Farron if I concentrate properly.
Yeah. Dude,
But
it
I
took
mean,
me 3 months to finish them. Don't worry about it.
I know that I can definitely beat it because the second time that I fought him, when he goes into like his flame blade mode, I got him down to half health,
Yeah.
but I'd used up my flasks fighting my way through to get from like our last bonfire to go through those double doors and all that
You
stuff,
don't even need to fight. You don't need to use a single potion on those guys.
which I didn't realize,
You
and then I
just
was like,
take a
I could have
right.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
I could have skipped all that shit.
You just went straight for the death rates.
Yeah, I just sprinted through and like
Oh,
axed them
wonderful.
down. I only lost a bit of health, but I had to use two of my fucking Estus flasks, and obviously those things are incredibly useful in boss fights.
Uh-huh.
And I got him down to halfway when he was using his flaming blade, and I was like, Jesus Christ! Like if I'd had those other two flasks, I'd have killed him.
The thing that
And
killed me constantly with Watch Dogs of Farron was that fucking flame trail. After he
I was
uses
able
the
to
flaming
avoid that.
sword, I always fucked me up in the beginning of my first time trying with him.
I was amazed because just on reaction, from playing it with you,
Yeah.
I was able to perfectly. I'd roll and the flames would leap up to where I was like half a second before. I was shit myself the whole time I was doing it as well. I was like, oh fuck, oh
It's
shit, oh
really
fuck.
intense. Yeah.
But I managed to avoid like every. I only got hit with the fire once, and I was like, oh whatever. I'll just kind of like start again and keep rolling and moving.
Mm.
And I know for a fact that if I go back at it, I'm gonna get it completed in one session, like just sitting down
Yeah.
and playing it.
One session.
Well, yeah, this is why I'm saying like I'd love to get us, like you said earlier, I'd love to get us playing Dark Souls because,
Yeah,
god
man.
damn, would it be funny?
All three of us would
Oh
be a lot
yeah,
of fun.
you guys know me. I am definitely down. Like on my like when I hit my weeks off,
Uh-huh.
this is the problem with my current schedule. So my week on starts on a Wednesday and then ends the following Wednesday morning. So
Mm.
my weeks off, everybody else is still working the majority of it, minus when we do our sessions on Saturdays.
Oh, so
So
you're
typically,
off from this Saturday that just ended until Wednesday, so you're like free
yep,
until Wednesday?
yep, I am
Okay.
free until Wednesday afternoon. I work kind of a really weird shift. I work like a 3 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a very oddball, off the wall kind of shift. So for me, like especially on my days when I'm off for my weeks off, number one, I'm awake at weird hours for everyone else because they're like, dude, I'm just getting off work. I want to relax. And then
Yeah.
during the daytime, everybody's still at work. So I'm just like, what do I do here now? So I am definitely down to get back into Dark Souls and
Sick.
play some more.
Yeah,
I feel
Cody
like
the
the funny,
X-ray technician over here.
I feel like the
X-ray
funny
and
thing
nuclear
is,
medicine. Get it.
like, you're definitely just like pure stubbornness. You're definitely the guy that's gonna try and fucking fight the Dragon Knight with like a cardboard knife or something. Like, you
That's how it felt when I faced that first boss with the thief. I was sitting there, I'm like, man, how does he have so much health?
you're like
Yep.
trying to fight IRX Gundar with your hands.
Oh, okay, so I've talked about this before, I think a little bit, but my girlfriend isn't super into video games. Like she doesn't really play them. Before we met, she played like Kingdom Hearts a little bit, and that was pretty much it. But like I've had her test out a bunch of stuff. She loves the Outer Worlds. She loves
Oh,
Mario
it's a
Odyssey.
great game.
Yeah,
There you go.
she got past where I'm at in Mario Odyssey in like 2 weeks, and she got past it in like overnight. So like, is this girl who just doesn't care at all about video games or video game culture? But when you find a game that sticks, like she won't stop playing. Anyway, so I had her play a little bit of Dark Souls 3 just to see if she liked it or not. So she got to Gundyr, and she just got absolutely tossed. And so me wanting to show off, I took off all the armor that she was wearing and put away the sword and shield, and I just started punching him to death. And she got so fucking mad at me. So I did almost beat him with I did beat the Watchdogs of Farron with naked with a club and a wooden shield. So I did do that, but I wasn't able to beat Udix Gundyr with just fists, unfortunately. But talking
My
about, go ahead, go and finish
my
that.
claim to fame is beating Gundar first time around when he's in the big like massive final form.
Yeah.
I managed to beat him with a dagger, and I was like,
Oh,
that is
nice.
the greatest thing I will ever do in Dark Souls.
It
That is the best thing I will ever do.
it's so fun to show off. But like talking about careers and stuff, there was something funny that you and I talked about, Alex. Um, how everybody in this group, besides me, of course, working at a damn call center, until the beginning of next year, would hopefully I'll be getting my tattoo apprenticeship. We'll see if I can make a big enough portfolio for that in time. But anyway, so we've got engineers in here, we've got like X-ray technicians. What did you say Nerf was? Did he mention what he uh
I can't remember if he ever actually mentioned it or not. Um,
Turns out he's just like a real life nerf. Like that's actually
that's his job.
he
a full
invented
time
the
job.
Nerf gun, or his grandpa did, and he's just inherited a bunch of money, and that's
So
Oh.
it.
he is a nerf gun. Like he was the first nerf gun,
Oh
and
my
like
god.
they just copy his DNA and make other Nerf guns.
But what I was gonna say about that was how like everyone here is obviously, we're all smart. We've all got,
Yeah, I
careers
remember what I said.
or big, or like, me, I pour so much creative like energy into writing and planning and whatever, all this stuff, and we'll come to a puzzle, and everybody will all of a sudden become uh
Like sharing one brain cell between four
orcs.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen here, I'll be honest. I feel like I never used that brain cell. I'm just sitting here like maybe it's this, and everybody's like, bro, no, like
It's on
stop.
permanent loan to me, and I don't know where it is.
It's
Basically.
like it's funny because I once again I said this to Alex, but something that people who watched first session, which I think session one of Return to Drang Lake has 76 views now, so that's really cool. For me, that's 760 or 7600, like because of where I'm at now. But so yeah, 78, good number, good number for me right now. Um, Nobody knows except me and Alex right now, but I had to cut out like half an hour to 45 minutes of our first encounter in the Lost Bastille because half an hour of it was just like us trying to brute force the fuck out of that puzzle, which I admit was probably a little obtuse as far as what to do, but you guys did figure it out. You just chose not to do it after you figured it out.
Yeah,
Once again, I am very determined to just beat the shit out of stuff with
Uh-huh.
my character. So
that first crumbling door that we came across, and I was like, oh, I know what's gonna happen here. You just go straight fucking through the door.
Right. Exactly. It's funny because, like, sometimes I think that I'm doing a bad job with the puzzle, and then I have to realize there are some players that just really like brute forcing shit, if they can, if they're able to. Because I specifically remember, and Alex, I told you about this, how you guys, like, straight up figured it out. You're like, okay, so the puzzle says to abandon your instincts, so let's go ahead and use the opposite spell scroll on the door. And everyone's like, okay. And I said, okay, are we all gonna, is this what we're all agreeing on? Are we all 100% this is what we're gonna do? And there was a silence. And Alex is like, let's go check the well again. And everybody just leaves. And I just start pulling my fucking
Man,
hair out.
the
And
thing was, people weren't making the decision and doing the thing, and I was like, I'd rather do something than nothing. So rather than
right.
like everyone standing in the room going like, I was like, let's just go somewhere else and do that, okay?
Yeah,
As long
yeah.
as they're like covering ground and doing shit, eventually you throw enough shit, something's gonna stick. Like we're gonna just end
Oh
up
my
doing it.
god, I was smashing my head on the table so fucking hard. But after that, the puzzles went pretty well. I think. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah, I
was?
don't think we had another one that really stumped us too bad.
Yeah.
I do remember going back to the whole brute force thing. I think breaking Lucatil out was probably one of those things too, where I can just
That
see
was
you probably pulling
100% a
your hair
brute
out.
force one. No, that
That
was
was
brute
okay. So
force.
that was how that was
That
meant to
was
be.
perfect.
Okay.
There are some things that I'll just be like, this is like simple enough. I think I also mentioned it in the like DM tip video that I made, which Cody can watch, but Alex cannot. Because it straight
Ah,
up
you bastard.
spoils the entire like an entire like mini dungeon in the Darnin campaign. Like you just see the one.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, it goes through like the making of it and like, how to make a, dungeon, whatever. But something that I mentioned was that like I don't want things to become too video gamey where everything is like a locked door with a fucking key that you've got to like solve whatever. So
You just
some
put your foot through the door.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes I like breaking that up with like it being a natural, like a very natural way to get through a word. So for that one, it was just like this bitch is locked in a fucking cell, bros. You are four level 3 characters, some of which who can use some magic, some of which who are tanks. Figure out how to open this steel door. and that's all
I
it was.
think I think what the funniest thing was, because I think we still had that other guy in our group at the time.
Yeah, that other guy,
Um,
pretty much.
yeah, but anyway, I remember me sitting here. That guy definitely had something he could have used to help
Uh-huh.
us, but
A
I don't
hundred
think he
percent.
wanted to contribute at all. And I was just like, all right, fine, I'm gonna hit it. I get like I think I rolled just above a nat fail. Like I think
Yep.
I
Yeah.
rolled
I
a
think I
2 or
remember that
something, and you're
entire
like, yeah,
session you
you
were like
cling
nat
off
failing.
it. And then Nerf goes to, and then our smallest party member, Nerf. Oh yeah, I'm gonna try and hit the door. And I just remember I laughed and I was like, all right. And he pinged off it, and I was just like, oh my god,
He
like
just
what is
jump
happening?
kicked that bitch.
Like the entire party defeated by a frail, pathetic door.
Uh-huh.
Right, some
Yeah.
frail
Was
jail door.
he a wizard? Uh
He was I can't remember if he was a wizard or a sorcerer. I just remember him not doing anything.
'Cause like looking at spell lists for were we level 2 at that point?
Yes, we were level 2.
Okay.
Um, and I think the only other spell we had um, that we wound up using that session was actually uh, you. If I remember right, Alex, you used Mage Hand to open up that one door so we could get in at the
Yeah.
elevator, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
if I was like stepping on Brandon's toes with that, if it was like
No.
something that we had to find a lever for, because when I wanted to do it, Brandon was like, not against it, but like, all right, where are you
Yeah,
doing it?
you
How are
don't
you
have to
doing it?
spoil. Yeah, I was about to say you don't have to spoil how it was truly meant to be
Oh, yeah,
done,
of
but did
course
we
not.
do it properly or?
Okay, so well first off, like talking on stepping on toes and whatever, something that I like realized is a negative trait when you're a DM is being upset when somebody doesn't do something the way you want it to be done, because it's like really fulfilling as a player knowing that you're supposed to do it one way, but you were able to like be creative and figure out another way of doing it. So I wouldn't ever want to take that away from like, player creativity. I don't want to be like, "Oh, what the fuck? That's not what I wanted you to do. Don't fucking do that." But pretty much what that I don't give a fuck about like telling you guys what it was. It's not like it gives away lore or story or anything.
Well, the only reason I brought that up is in case you wanted to use it in like a future like game if you know.
Oh, nah.
Okay.
But
Oh, nah.
So then I am very interested if you're cool with sharing. Like, how
yeah.
were we supposed to do that door?
So the way that you guys finished it was correct. So, pretty much what it said was, you had two warriors of different factions at the bottom of the well. One was, of Queen Hyde and one was of King Idibus. And, they both had one had spell scroll of knock and one had spell scroll of God, I forgot what it was, but it was like this giant fucking
It was
fireball
the acid
explosion of
smoke
acid.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it said, um, the answer lies in abandoning murky allegiances. So, murky, it's in the water, whatever. If you trust instinct in murky allegiances, you'll fail or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, you go down there, you see the two scrolls, you read the plaque, and you go, oh, okay, so we can't trust instinct, we've got to do the opposite. So that's pretty much all it was.
Well, oh,
Cast
well,
fake knock on the door.
well, not that one. I'm talking the door that Alex Mage handed in the next part of that dungeon. After we had freed Lucatil to get in at the actual elevator. So you remember we freed
Oh,
Lucatil and there was that door at that bottom left?
oh,
That's
the
the one
one
I
that
was
was
curious about.
barred.
Yeah. Was
Yeah,
that what we
that
were
that was
supposed to
brute
do? Just Mage
force.
hand it? Okay.
That was do
Oh,
whatever you
brute
want.
force.
Also,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that was like this door. See, the thing is though, I mean, I don't want to give away my fucking tropes, but I mean, it's okay. Like the door was locked by simple means. It had a big like wooden bar behind it.
Oh, okay.
So like
Okay.
anything
Fair
that's
enough.
not like obviously this is like weird and magic is like, figure out how to get through this kind of thing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was the one I was curious about because that I think that's the one Alex was talking about too, where he was like, I hope I wasn't stepping on your
Oh,
toes.
that's what you were talking about?
Yeah, we were talking that door,
Oh, I thought you were talking about like the lever
the very
beyond
first one.
the bars. Because I was sweating a little bit with that. Because the only reason I said there's a lever back there is so that you knew that it was like it made sense. Like how could anyone open or close this portcullis if there's no lever on the other side? And then I'm like, oh shit, mage hand. They could just fucking open the lever. Or
Okay.
yeah, which
That would have, by the way, for those of you in the audience, if you remember, there was some really dangerous, like I can't remember what whatever we used from the other thing, because wasn't there some gas or something behind that door as well? Because I
I
think I remember that first door. I tried to pass something through to catch the lever, and
oh
you're
yeah,
like,
it
yeah,
caught
it
on
burns up
fire.
instantly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
So
caught
I
on
was
fire.
like, had we mage handed that and not used one of those
I think I remember
tomes, I would say
specifically saying that. I think I said, good thing you guys didn't put your hand through there.
yes, exactly what you said
Which is
afterwards,
all
and
I'm gonna say.
I just remembered thinking, "Oh, thank God." I don't because at that point I didn't know if anybody had Mage Hand because nobody had used it prior to that. But I was like,
Yeah.
"Thank God nobody did it." And that's right when you said that, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. I think we're hey you guys good to go for we're at 1 hour and 1 minute here.
Oh, and
So
I've got to clock off in about 5 minutes.
okay, cool. Yeah, so that's a good place then. Um but yeah, I mean, talking about the future, this next session that's come up, like we said, there's a lot of like really cool stuff that happens in there that'd be really fun for you guys to watch and all that, and hopefully we can continue doing these podcasts. What I want to do is like hopefully get one more person from either this group or some old groups or one of you guys' groups to just sit here and talk about stuff other than like our campaign, and we can just talk about D&D stories, like D&D horror stories that we've had, or like really awesome sessions we've had outside of
it
this game.
it would be cool. I can try and get a hold of my old DM, see if we can get
Yeah,
him in here, have a little guest appearance, so to speak.
yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, out to the both of you guys. If you guys know anyone on that you talk to on Discord or whatever who can get on and talk with us, that'd be awesome.
Sure thing. I'll go through my friends list there and get a hold of some of the people I know that play this quite a bit and see if they'd
Sick.
want to join in.
Yeah, I'll definitely be doing the same. But yeah, thanks guys for hanging out. It was fun. It was fun talking.
I mean,
Yeah,
on the topic of time off, by the way,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have 3 months after
Oh yeah.
the 10th of November, so I'll have 3 months off.
You
that
guys
is actually
wanna?
good timing because that's in the winter time,
Yeah,
and
for real.
I
Yep.
know living in the Midwest where I currently do,
Yeah,
we
so do
tend to
I.
get snow 2 feet at a time, so there's not much
Yes.
else to do other than
Or
shovel
just
driveways.
summer, like last year, I think. But yeah. So if you guys wanna like hop on and play some video games the next couple days,
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
I'm down.
sick.
Shoot, dude. If anything, maybe we get a little streaming action in on us doing some Dark Souls.
Yeah, dude, that'd be
Yeah.
fucking cool.
But yeah, I'd be down. And then real quick here, Brandon,
Yeah.
in case anybody just happens to find this, just randomly search around YouTube. Do you want to plug your channel real quick so people know where they can look?
Yeah, man. So we're the Cellar Orcs. So Cellar Orcs, one word. And if you go there, you're gonna find two campaigns, one of which is done, one that's in progress, and a third one that's coming out soon. And then you can also find our podcast here, DM tip videos, and then animated D&D stories coming out soon.
All right, perfect.
All right.
Awesome.
See you guys later. Have a
Yeah,
good
See ya.
night, Alex. Go to bed.
yeah, get some sleep, bro.
Ah, shut up, Mom.